What is going on, guys? It's me. I'm back. I don't have D-Rod with me today. He's out of town doing some sponsor work for his one of his sponsors, so he'll be back on Sunday. But yeah, been in Vegas doing my thing, training, getting ready for the fight. We're 3 weeks out, so it's getting closer and closer. Feeling good, feeling strong, feeling ready. I got a little bit of a cut on my hand that I'm dealing with, but it's not too bad. It's healing up, which is good. And yeah, I'm ready to go. Excited. Yeah, just ready to get after it. I'll get back to town on Sunday, so he'll be here. We'll probably film another episode after this weekend's UFC, massive UFC card. As we discussed on the last episode together, we know that the Islam and Volkanovski matchup got announced, which 11 days notice is pretty crazy, especially for that level of fight. But yeah, I think that's the fight everybody wanted to see anyway. It's definitely a shame Charles Oliveira, couldn't make it. But yeah, and then of course we have Khamzat Chimaev and Kamaru Usman, the former welterweight champion, now fighting for the #1 contender spot at middleweight to face Sean Strickland. The winner will face Sean. Interesting fight for sure. Obviously, there's been a lot of rumblings in the media now with Kamaru's knees, what's going on with that. And then, obviously Khamzat not fighting as frequently as I guess everybody wants to see, but, he's ready to go in there and make a statement. And it definitely has the makings of a banger of a fight in the main and co-main event. But it's a pretty stacked card from top to bottom. I'm basically, going over the fights for this weekend, and then also just kind of recapping you guys on what's been happening this week until D-Rod gets back, and then we'll take it off from there. That's why I'm trying to stay consistent, guys. But again, this focus will be primarily on UFC 294, and I think we have some definite solid locks for this card that we can throw some money at. There's definitely some fights that I like, but there's also some traps here too. I feel like there's some opportunities for some underdogs to get a win. So let's start with the first fight. We got Sharabuddin Magomedov. That's the Dagestani ginger red bearded, one-eyed looking inbred fella, fighting against Bruno Silva, who's pretty experienced. He went 3 rounds with Alex Pereira. He's coming off of a knockout loss to Brendan Allen. So he's coming in as a favorite, this Magomedov, who's making his debut. I see this fight as a trap. This is a trap fight right here. I'm not 100% sold on the debut. As you guys have probably seen in the past, a lot of guys that come in don't necessarily come in with the win sometimes, depending on the level of competition. But I think Bruno Silva is a pretty experienced guy. I know the Dagestani is favorite to win. He's a striker, he's not a wrestler. But Bruno Silva can crack as well. He beat Brad Tavares before losing to Brendan Allen, and I think Brendan Allen is pretty damn talented himself. So this is definitely a step up in competition for Magomedov, and I'm not calling this a lock. Let's just put it that way. I wouldn't put Shara as a lock on a parlay or anything like that. But I think maybe even a potential underdog pick with Bruno Silva at plus money would come out on top as well. It will be interesting to see. I want to know the story. Is this dude actually blind in one eye? Like, I don't get it. Like, if that's the case, like, he's fighting at a disadvantage every time. I would bet against him every time, But I don't know. I want to know more about this guy. It'll be hard for him to fight in the U.S. if he actually is blind in one eye. I know Michael Bisping, had to lie on eye tests to be able to get past the fight. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, if I'm gonna pick, I'm gonna go with Bruno Silva as one of my dogs of the day for UFC 294. I do expect Shara to win. He's supposed to go in there and win by knockout. He's a knockout guy, finisher. But I do kind of like Bruno here. I don't know why. I just do. Brazilians are tough. Next up, we got the ladies. At 115, we got Jinyu Frey versus Victoria Dudakova. Dudakova coming off of the Contender Series. I wasn't overly impressed by her. She's a big favorite to win this fight against Jinyu Frey. Again, Jinyu Frey's very experienced. She's strong, physically very strong woman. You know, I'm not really sure because Dudakova is younger. She's going to pursue the grappling. I would stay away from this fight. Maybe even bet like the over. In my opinion, usually the percentage is high on the ladies' fights going the distance. But this is one fight that I would stay away from. I'm not adding any of those to a parlay or anything like that. I don't think that's a safe play in my opinion. So that's how I feel. Who do I think is going to win this fight? I'm going to go with youth and go with Victoria Dudakova as the big favorite, betting favorite. But I do like Jinyu Frey to be able to use her experience and maybe her strength to keep things standing and maybe get the better of the striking. Because from what I've seen of Dudakova, I'm not super overly impressed with her striking. So usually when the grappler has to become a striker, it doesn't turn into a good night. So let's see how that plays out. I like the over on that. So let's see. Here's a fight that I like. Nathaniel Wood versus Muhammad Naimov. Muhammad Naimov was someone I saw fighting Jamie Malarkey, who was getting pieced up by Malarkey until Malarkey got in the pocket, got in the exchange, and then got KO'd. You know, Naimov definitely has KO power, but I really like Nathaniel Wood in this position here. He's a pretty solid favorite, but I think Nathaniel is very well-rounded, very experienced, fought at a very high level. He's obviously coming up in weight. He was a 35er. He's now fought a couple times at featherweight. He beat Andre Fili. I think this is a step down in competition for Nathaniel. So this should be a nice fight for him. I think he's too fast, too technical, and I think he gets it done by possibly decision or even maybe a finish. I'm going to lean on the side of decision because I believe Muhammad Naimov is a tough dude. But yeah, I like Wood on this one for sure. Next up, we got the Indian. I think he's the first Indian fighter. I know what it's like to be the first of a nation. Anshul Jubli. Yes, Anshul Jubli versus Mike Breeden, the American. Breeden has been fighting pretty actively. Well, he's been actively losing. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's he lost to the homie Natan Levy. He lost to Terrence McKinney, who's obviously on a roll himself, knocking out people pretty quickly. But Jubli, he's coming off the road to UFC, and he made his debut against a guy who, I don't know, I wasn't very impressed by. Jeka Saragi from, I think he's Indonesian. And he's another one that first to ever fight in the UFC from Indonesia. Yeah, I wasn't really impressed, but this will be definitely a step up in competition. I think this is a setup fight for Jubli to win. Again, Breeden's legit. He's fought pretty high level. He can strike. Jubli's never lost, and now he's getting to a level where, fighting on the big stage, this is a lot of pressure. Let's see if he gets through the test. This is another fight I'm staying away from. If anything, I would sprinkle a little bit on the underdog, Mike Breeden, just because he's fought at a higher level against higher level opponents, in my opinion. Yeah, Jubli's a pretty big favorite. They're trying to market India, get into India, so maybe he's their ticket. So let's see. But yeah, Breeden's in a must-win situation, coming off of 3 losses and 3 in a row, and then Jubli, second fight now in the UFC. So interesting one for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from adding that to a parlay, and I would sprinkle maybe a little bit on Breeden there, just to see what happens. Next up, we got Cedricus Dumas versus Abu Azaitar. This is also in my opinion, like a 50-50 kind of. Not really sure. I think I'm leaning more Cedricus Dumas, honestly. I think he is the favorite. He's more frequent. He's been fighting more frequently. He's younger, longer, probably more athletic. Abu Azaitar, last time I saw this man fight, it was against Mark Andro Barrio, power bar, and he just got the brakes just beaten off of him. Like, he gassed after 1 round And there were multiple times, I don't know if you guys remember this fight, but there were multiple times in the fight where the ref could have stopped it, and it was almost like the ref let it go on purpose because they wanted to just see this dude get beat up. It was crazy. But yeah, he got finished like right at the end of the third round after like being demolished for like fucking the whole fight. It was crazy. But I was not impressed. I don't believe he has much of a gas tank. He's 37 years old. I'm going to go with Cedricus here. I'd add him to a parlay. I like Cedricus here. I've seen some footage of him training with Alan Belcher. He looked pretty sharp in sparring. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Cedricus to get the W in Abu Dhabi. Next up, we got Javid Basharat and Victor Henry. I'm a big fan of Basharat. I think he's super high level. But Victor Henry, man, that's another guy. He's got 29 fights, pretty much double the fights of Basharat. Super experienced guy. He throws a ton of volume. It's an interesting fight. I think like Javid's the more technical fighter, but Victor is kind of like a whirlwind. He can throw a bunch of stuff at you and just come with a lot of pressure. So I think I'm going to edge Javid here. He's on a streak right now. Him and his brother are looking really sharp. So I'm going to edge Javid here. I'll probably throw him in a parlay as well. So yeah, I'm gonna edge Javid here. Next up, we have Mohamed Yahya versus Trevor Peek, the ever entertaining Trevor Peek. Speaking of fighting styles, his style is pretty crazy. That's a hurricane if there was ever a fighting style. So for Trevor Peek, coming off of a tough loss to Chepe Mariscal, but it's actually aging pretty well. Chepe's actually pretty legit. He beat Jack Jenkins, broke his arm trying to defend a throw, and obviously he couldn't continue, but he was fighting well, and yeah, he's looked pretty good. So I don't know too much about Mohamed Yahya. I believe we fought on the same card once, UA Warriors. From the level of competition, I wouldn't say he's fought very high level guys. And I feel like after this loss for Trevor Peek, he's got a good team. I think he's gonna go in and refine things, and I think he's gonna come out here and get the win in this one. I think he's gonna beat Mohamed Yahya. I would throw him in a parlay as well. Anything can happen. Obviously, Muhammad's fighting in his backyard, but I think Trevor has the more of the dog in him than his opponent. So I'm gonna edge him in this one. Next up, we got Tim Elliott versus Muhammad Mokaev. Tim Elliott, super experienced veteran, former champion, I believe, and just someone that's been at in the game for just a long time. He's going up against the young, super young, big star coming up, Muhammad Mokaev. He's super legit. I've shared the match with him in Thailand before. Super high level wrestler and grappler, ever evolving MMA game. This is a tough one. If I'm these are one of those fights. If Mokaev, coming off of his last win, he got his knee. I remember watching the fight, and he was in a knee bar, and it was like so savagely bent. It was it was wild to see how flexible that knee was, and he seemed to be fine afterwards. So I'm hoping he's still healthy. Like, the knee's all good. He's all good. If he comes in ready to go, I think he beats Tim Elliott. But Tim Elliott also has an ability to make it a grinding affair, and he's got some pretty awkward style, and he's not someone that you can I guess emulate or get training for. So it's definitely a mix of styles to see how it goes. We know Muhammad Mokaev is going to push the grappling, and if he can't solidify it, what is he going to do, in terms how is he going to look against Tim striking? So this is a lot. I think it's more of a closer fight than the odds suggest. I could definitely see this fight going to a decision, going to the end. So I would bet the over on that fight. I'm not sure 100% on the winner. I know Mokaev's a big favorite, but Elliott could definitely, Mokaev struggled against lower level opponents in the past. So, Tim Elliott's got all the tricks, so it'd be interesting to see how that one plays out for sure. So I'm going to edge the over on that. I like the over on that for sure. And then we have Said Nurmagomedov versus Mayun Gafarov. I really like Nurmagomedov here. I really like watching him fight, actually. Super talented. He's super well-rounded, great striker, great grappler. Pretty much has all the tools to be successful. And yeah, I'm definitely a fan. I think he gets this one done. I'm going to go with him on the money line against Mayun Gafarov. I watched his last fight. It was a good performance, obviously. But if you look at his record and actually no, wait, he lost to John Castaneda in his last fight. Yeah, so I feel like for Said, this is definitely this is my lock of the card right here is Said Nurmagomedov. This is my guaranteed pick. Throw that in the parlay for sure. I like it. Next up, we got Ikram Aliskerov versus Warley Alves. Yeah, I think this is a setup fight. I'm pretty sure this is short notice too. Aliskerov versus Alves. I think Alves took this on short notice 2 weeks ago. So yeah, at 185. Yeah, I like Ikram to get it here. I would throw him in the parlay as well. I think he's a pretty big favorite as well. So yeah, I think this one goes under 1.5 rounds as well. Yeah, so that's my play on that. And then next we have Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker. That's going to be a banger for sure. There's always that KO ability that Johnny Walker brings. Like, he's just such an erratic athlete. Like, he's got such freak power. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. But I still feel like Ankalaev has all the tools, he can take, he could take Johnny Walker down. I feel like he might even be the better striker. I think Johnny Walker could see in his last fight that he was susceptible to the leg kick. So maybe Johnny Walker will come out with some leg kicks and try to hurt him. I know Walker has now kind of calmed down a bit more and he's less wild in there. So, he's definitely got a chance there, but I would throw my money on Ankalaev. Yeah, I think Ankalaev's another guy that I would throw in my parlay. I think he's got the ability to win the fight. I think it would possibly go to a decision as well. I don't know what the odds are on the over-under on that fight, but if Johnny Walker doesn't get the finish, I feel like it'll go to a decision, and I feel like Ankalaev will get it done there. And then, back to our main two, the co-main with Kamaru and Chimaev. Personally speaking, before even fight week started, when they announced the fight, I already pretty much liked Chimaev. But, I mean, there are a lot of factors that can go in when we're talking, Gilbert was able to hurt Chimaev. And the wrestling didn't necessarily, it turned into a striking fight, right? It was a full-on striking fight. In reality, Gilbert Burns is a 155er who went up to 170. And Kamaru is a true 170. He does hit hard. He is older, obviously, but, maybe prime Kamaru is a different story. But I just feel like in terms of volume, speed, strength, and the ability to grapple and wrestle, I think Chimaev has the advantage just from what I see with my eyes. And I'm sure that fight with Gilbert, made him better, made him even better because he went in there thinking he was going to smash Gilbert in like one round. And then when he realized he couldn't do that, he had to go through adversity. He got dropped. There was certain things in there, and those are key things that help you grow as a fighter. And he still won, So this is definitely going to be a step up in competition with one of the best ever. But I like Chimaev to get it done. I even like him to get it done by finish. I would bet the under 2.5 rounds, and I like Chimaev to win by finish, I think. And then in the main event, of course, we got Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev. And man, I mean, I want Volk to win. I think everybody wants Volk to win. I don't think anybody doesn't except for the Muslim boys. But I really think, like, my brain is telling me, Makhachev, he's in a full camp. Remember, the last time they fought, it was in Alexander Volkanovski's backyard. And, Volkanovski had a full camp and he was ready to go. And now it's on 11 days notice, which inarguably Islam's, backyard, and he's on a full camp. So just on, like, even though it doesn't really matter, like MMA math or whatever, but I like Islam to win. I think it's not that I like it. I just think that's what's going to happen. I'm not sure, obviously, how the fight's going to play out. I've spoken to people in Volk's camp, and he's in good shape. It's not like he's out of shape or their word. He's saying he's always in good nick. That was the exact wordage. He's in good nick. So, yeah, I love Volk. I think he's one of my favorite fighters. And I really hope, he pulls it off. I could see him knocking Islam out too. You know what I mean? Like, there's always that opportunity. Sometimes coming off the couch without having to put your body through a grind. I mean, when you're someone like Alexander Volkanovski, who's been so active, his body doesn't, I don't think his body even, like, gets into a bad shape. You know what I mean? Like, he's constantly in shape. He's always doing something. He's active. So this could be a blessing in disguise in a way, because I think it happened to Bisping when Bisping beat Rockhold, coming off the couch kind of thing. And sometimes these short notice things, made my UFC debut on short notice. All these kind of things are also very possible. It's not impossible, and he's felt Islam. He's felt the wrestling. He knows what to experience. And I'm sure he's thought about it a lot. So, this is a really, really tough one to, like, in terms of betting. I'm not going to have put a bet, or I'm going to have my original parlay that I've, like, of locks that I picked, and then have two finishers. Have one with Volk and one with Islam. That's kind of how I would play the card today for the parlay. We'll go over that in a second, what I think are my final picks. But yeah, I would do it that way. But personally speaking, I think, of course, Volk has a chance. Volk can definitely win this fight. But my gut and my brain are telling me go with Makhachev. He's obviously the favorite for a reason. And yeah, I mean, we could always hope for the upset. But like I said, in terms of betting, I would go and cap off both sides of the parlay. So let's overview the parlay, the fights that I like going in this weekend. So number 1 is Nathaniel Wood to win over Naimov. So we'll throw him in the parlay, money line. I'll go Cedricus Dumas, money line. Throw him on there. We'll go Javed Basharat. Throw him on the money line. He's just like a teaser. Trevor Peak. Throw him on the money line. Tim Elliott and Muhammad Makayev go the over. I think it's going to go to a decision. Saeed Nurmagomedov, I like him. I'm going to avoid the Alaskarov fight. He's too big a favorite. If you guys have a cap limit on how many you can put in a parlay, throw him in there anyway if you want, but it's not like a guarantee. Like, anything could happen. Same thing for Warley Alves coming in short notice. Who knows? He was getting pieced up by who was the last fella he fought? Black fella. What's his name? Gotta click on the profile 1 second. Phil Rowe. No, Phil Hawes. Sorry, not Rowe. Phil Hawes. Yeah, so Phil Hawes was piecing him up, man. And then Alaskarov got the KO. So, yeah, there's always a chance of that happening. So I'm staying away from that fight from the parlay. Throw Magomed Ankalaev. Throw him in the parlay. Khamzat Chimaev, under 2.5 rounds. You can throw both, the under and Khamzat. And then finish that off with 1 Volk and 1... Makhachev. And I think regardless of how, like, regardless of whoever wins that main event, if those other picks come out, I think you're at least looking pretty solid in terms of your odds. So throw whatever you can throw, 25 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever. Remember, it's a Saturday morning card, so it starts early. I think that prelim started like 7 in the morning, so I'll be up hella early on Saturday watching that. And then, yeah, and I think the main card starts at like 11 or 12. So, yeah, just wanted to give you guys a rundown of the episode on, I guess this is just kind of more primarily for the betting picks that I'm playing this weekend that I'm liking. So maybe you guys can pick a couple. Let me know what you guys think as well. What are going to be hitting this weekend? But yeah, otherwise training's been going well. Weight's coming down. You know, eating good, eating clean. Got good energy. Yeah, I just got some wrestling mats for like my home gym. So gonna be doing some late night grappling and stuff like that. Yeah, so definitely getting ready for this fight. I'm excited. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a fun experience out at Game Bread in Mississippi. So yeah, I'm excited for it. And hopefully after that, gonna be fighting Karate Combat as well in Vegas. So back to back is the goal here. I've done it before, so I can do it again. And yeah, hope everybody has a good weekend. Stay safe and enjoy UFC on this Saturday. And we'll be doing another episode with D-Rod probably Sunday or Monday. So stay tuned. Thank you for following. Like, share, subscribe, and talk to you fellas later. Peace.